Imagine pushing your body to its absolute limits. I mean, running 100 miles through brutal mountain terrain. What fuels that kind of impossible effort? Legendary ultra runner Kilian. We're talking about how he uses fats like olive oil and coconut oil in these massive efforts like the Western States 100.
And what's truly fascinating, I think, is that Jornet's success isn't just, raw talent. It's clearly built on this meticulously adapted metabolic system. The core idea we're exploring today is metabolic flexibility. Think of it like your body's ability to switch fuel sources really smoothly, like a hybrid car optimizing between electric and gas. It's kind of a superpower in a 100-mile race.
Okay, so metabolic flexibility. How does Kilian actually use that? Like, what does it look like in practice during a race?
Well, he's trained his body over years to efficiently use fats. That includes olive oil and also MCTs from coconut oil. It becomes a primary, really stable energy source, especially during those long, sort of lower intensity parts of an ultra. This lets him tap into his body's own fat reserves, which are, almost limitless. It reduces his need for constant carb intake.
That sounds almost too good to be true. But I imagine there's a big but here, right? Like, not everyone can just start chugging olive oil.
This strategy is super individualized. It requires very specific long-term adaptation and training. It's definitely not something we'd universally recommend for, the average runner just starting out.
Okay, right. So it's not just about the fats then. What does his actual race day fuel plan look like? Is it more than just oil?
His approach is surprisingly versatile. While he trains his fat adaptation, he absolutely integrates carbohydrates during races. For instance, people looked at the 2022 UTMB data. He was taking in something like 120 grams of carbs per hour. That's a lot. He'll usually start taking stuff in after the first hour, then maybe every 30 minutes. And that includes solids too, things like sandwiches, bits of pasta, mashed potatoes even. Depends on the race. And hydration's key too, especially somewhere hot like Western states. We're talking 0.7 to 1 liter of water an hour plus salt tabs.
Interesting. So it's this blend. Let's unpack those specific fats he uses though. Olive oil and coconut oil.
Oh!
What's the science there? Why those two?
Okay, so olive oil is rich in monounsaturated fats, MUFAs. These seem to help with aerobic resistance, and because they digest slowly and steadily, they might even help reduce perceived effort. Less gut roller coaster. Then you have coconut oil, which is a main source of medium-chain triglycerides, or MCTs. These are kind of unique. They absorb faster than other fats, so they offer a more direct energy hit. But, and this is a big but, they can be tough on the gut. Tolerance varies wildly. Too much too fast. That can lead to some serious GI distress. Some guidelines suggest capping it around 30 grams at a time just to be cautious.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, the part that I think a lot of listeners will find really interesting, how does Kilian actually train his body to burn fat so well?
Right, this is key. He regularly does these incredibly long runs, sometimes 5, even 6 hours, deliberately without taking in any food or water. It essentially forces his body to get really good at tapping into and burning its own fat stores for fuel. The payoff is huge. Greater efficiency using fats, being able to switch between fat and glucose depending on the intensity, and less reliance on constantly shoveling in external carbs, which, as a bonus, can also minimize those dreaded digestive issues during a long race.
Wow, 5-6 hours with nothing. That sounds incredibly demanding. Is that kind of training even advisable for most people? Are there big risks?
It is demanding, absolutely. And it requires really careful planning, a lot of time, and honestly, professional supervision is a good idea. It's also worth noting it seems generally more effective, or let's say the adaptation might be different for men versus women due to some physiological differences in fat oxidation. For you listening, the biggest risks are probably gut issues, nausea, heaviness, diarrhea, because fats just digest slower than carbs, especially if your body isn't fully adapted. And the golden rule, always, do not experiment on race day. Test everything, absolutely everything, thoroughly in training first.
Right. So definitely no chugging a bottle of olive oil at the start line hoping for the best.
Definitely not. That's a surefire way to DNF rather than finish. For practical application, if you're curious, you could maybe start by gradually introducing small doses, like a teaspoon or a tablespoon of olive oil or some liquid MCTs during training runs. Always combine it with your usual carbs. Don't just replace them initially. Adjust based on how you feel. You really have to listen to your body, see what your tolerance is. And remember, absorption times are different, so you might need to adjust your aid station frequency if you're adding more fats.
Okay, so pulling it all together, what's the big takeaway from Kilian's strategy? It seems like a really powerful example of a highly adapted, fat-inclusive approach. It works incredibly well for him, but it's built on years of specific training and gut adaptation.
Exactly. The core message is olive oil can offer healthy, efficient energy, And MCTs can be a useful tool, but this whole approach is not one size fits all. It's not universal. It definitely opens up a really interesting path for like energy autonomy during long efforts, but it absolutely requires a gradual, personalized plan. And ideally, you'd work with a sports nutrition professional to figure it out safely.
So the question for you listening is, what does this all mean for your body's unique fuel strategy? How could you start to maybe understand and optimize it even in small ways for your own challenges, whether they're huge like Kilian's or something completely different?